Good morning. Keith Ingram, Director of the Elections Division, Texas Secretary of State, here on House Bill 3974.
Chair recognizes Representative Bucy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ingram, we just heard testimony that you have to have an ID to register to vote. Is that accurate?
That is not.
Okay, so you don't have to have an ID to register to vote.
You do not. You do have to supply a driver's license number or last four of the social. Unless you don't have either one of those, then you can make a statement that you don't have one of those.
Is voting a right or a privilege?
It's a right.
It's a right. So we don't want to add a bunch of burdens to a constitutional right. Let me ask a question. What is the trigger for the confirmation process as described in this bill? When are you going to go out, and are the Attorney General going to go out and figure this stuff out?
So the current law is not being changed in that regard, and if a voter registrar has a reason to believe that a person has moved, that's what triggers the confirmation process. We do a mass mail out of voter registration certificates every odd-numbered year, and that's a non-forwardable piece of mail. When it comes back to the voter registrar, then the confirmation notice, that's the most common trigger for a confirmation notice.
Okay. Does the National Voting Registration Act establish standards with respect to written confirmation notice for potential change of address?
It does. It provides that states shall provide a postcard for a voter who has moved to confirm their address if they believe they've moved, and the voter has to be able to, on that same postcard, return it postage paid, indicating that they have not moved or their new address.
And what happens if they don't return it?
Then they go into suspense for 2 federal elections if they don't show up and vote or otherwise update their address in that 2 federal election cycle. Then they will be removed from the voter list.
Talk to me about homelessness, or people that move around or maybe don't have a permanent residence but reside in a county. Right now, how do they register to vote?
A homeless person can describe the location where they spend time and then provide a mailing address for mailing. The military, professional military service members, as well as over-the-road truck drivers, they have a variety of options available. They can provide a residence address where they used to live in the county. They can provide a residence address for a family member in a county, but the options for them are fairly limited.
For the individuals struggling with homelessness that you just described, they can put down like an intersection, right, on their voter registration or describe where they reside.
They can.
Would this bill impact their ability to do that?
No. On the bottom of page 3, there's a provision for a voter that has no address to be able to sign an affidavit that says this is where I reside.
Is that a new task that they would have to do?
It is.
They'd have to have an affidavit now to have their right to vote.
If their address was challenged with an address confirmation notice, they would have to provide this affidavit. That's a new requirement.
Well, that's not for you to answer, I guess. I'm just curious why we need to add that burden to someone's constitutional right to vote. Thank you, sir.